Good morning and welcome to October. I'm your host, Greenskins, and with me is the Wolfman. That's all I got.
Drinking from my Oktoberfest mug.
Look at that mug. It looks so puny in your orc hands.
It's actually fairly tiny. But yours is in the mail.
Good morning, Joe. And yes, today is Saturday. Joe tried to pull a fast one on me yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I went walking in the shop and I'm like, Joe, what are you doing here? And he's like, it's Saturday. Didn't you know that? And
did you fall for it?
No, because if it was Saturday, I'd be at his house working on it. So I was like,
you'd be wearing your landlord hat.
I went through some really weird time warp in my life. So anywho, well, good morning. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just kind of full of energy.
Bouncing off the walls.
What's that?
Are you bouncing off the walls?
A little bit. I got a lot. It's been a busy weekend. Like yesterday, just with garage door repairs and working around the house and commitments that I've made and things that it's just like boom, 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 got stuff to do.
I know that feeling.
So you know how it is. Very well. Yeah, and yesterday was like my one day to kind of chill for myself and like do Mikey stuff. So I did Mikey stuff.
That should be a chapter of the title of one of the chapters of your book, Mikey Stuff.
Mikey stuff.
What is Mikey stuff?
I go to Bookman's and I look for old books and RPGs and music and board. I just look for random stuff. They also sell guitars, and I go in there and go, I don't need another guitar. And then I go.
No one ever, unless you're in a band and making your living, and no one needs a guitar.
No, I don't need another guitar. I need guitars. I just don't need another one. Good morning. Got me a set of
neoprene
objectives. Oh, those. So I guess I've seen some of these floating around where they're like these discs, like pretty good sized discs that people have been using to throw on the board. Those are cool.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Very cool.
So then after I go to Bookman's, I go to Zia, then I go to IOG, then I go grab something to eat, then I come home, then I smoke a cigar, then I read a book or play a game or I do a thing, and then I chill out until my wife comes home, then we watch television, and that's Mikey stuff.
Fair enough. I guess mine, every morning I take my daughter to the bus stop. And then I go into town, get a Starbucks, and come home.
Yeah. See, you got Jeffy stuff. Jaffy's. We got to call you Jaffe. Jaffe stuff.
Jaffe.
And then everybody has their me time. Like everybody enjoys their me time differently, and those that's Mikey's me time.
That's your way of relaxing and unwinding.
It's my way of just kind of getting away.
There you go.
Just cool. Connect with friends, connect with passion, connect with things. Like yesterday at Zia, I found a cool Black Flag CD with just a bunch of studio stuff, just random, like, a lot of the big thing going on in the music industry right now are bands. Aerosmith's getting ready to release one right now, and some other bands have done it, where it's just old, like, studio recordings where you may have just been messing around, noodling around. Practicing some songs. You may have friends in there with you, or people in there helping out, and they're just releasing it, and people are buying this stuff up. And I found a Black Flag one and picked it up because I'm a big fan of Henry Rollins,
right?
Just as a human being, and I think I've talked about Henry before.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same camp.
Yeah. So it's just kind of cool. Yes, Raymond. De-stress. That's what it's all about. So I finally watched Black Widow.
Yeah.
Anywho, anything else?
take it you weren't impressed.
So I guess it would have been better prior to the lawsuit. And the reason I say that is because that was so much backstory about the family and her upbringing and all of that. And then I'm just watching and going, yeah, they're probably never going to hire her again to do a movie.
but they actually have.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that was kind of one of the things running through my mind. I'm like, this is a great pre-story, pre-Avengers, pre-everything, kind of the prequels to Star Wars. You know what I mean? It's like giving you all this background story about her as a character, introducing her sister in and kind of their upbringing.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you didn't at least find David Bro characters fun. Which character was he?
Big bearded dad guy. I can't think of his name.
Oh, yeah. He was funny.
And Lenny. He wants to see Rollins and Danzig fight.
Ooh, that would be interesting because they're both older guys like us. But I think Rollins is probably physically in better shape, but Danzig has the size.
Rollins played a character on Sons of Anarchy that I actually, for being the bad guy, I actually admired him. I didn't agree with his convictions.
Right. Well,
but I admired his sense of it from his perspective, right and wrong. If that makes any sense.
So, well, back in their prime. Now, that would be, that'd be rough, man.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
It'd be very interesting. Very interesting.
So, anyways, going back to it, a lot of comedy in it, especially with the sister making the jokes about the Black Widow pose. Found hilarious.
Yeah.
There was a lot of comedy in the movie. I think my favorite part, the best part of the whole movie, was when that armored vehicle was driving through the streets, smashing into cars, because I thought Gaslands all the way. Like, I need to do that in Gaslands, where he's smashing through all the cars.
Joe's wanting to know if you've ever read a comic.
No, I've never read a comic. Believe it or not, the only comic series I've ever read was The Punisher, and that was only a very specific period of the Punisher comics.
Warzone?
Max.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Where it was a little bit darker, grittier.
My only thing about the movie, I love the movie. I really did. However,
it was a good movie. I'm not saying it was a bad movie.
If I would have gone through my standard expenses to go to the cinema to see it, I probably would have been disappointed in it.
Good possibility. Oh, he was talking to Raymond. What was? Oh, okay. I guess it might be referring to the David Hasbro character.
Anyways. No, she's already. Well, there's a lot of other stuff they're doing. Raymond, he says he doesn't see Scarlett Johansson since they killed her character coming back. I read an article that she's already coming back to do voice work for the animated stuff. And there's talk of more prequels, and it's comics, as Joe. Now I understand Joe's comment, because death is really not a permanent thing. It's comics.
Well, it works, but anyways, so I finally got to see it. There was some funny parts. I also I kind of like the tie-in at the very end when Scarlett Johansson comes walking out as a blonde, and she's wearing the vest that her sister had.
Right.
Which I thought was kind of a little bit of a cool homage of celebrating her sister and all that kind of cool stuff.
You saw the after credit scene, right?
No, probably not.
The after credit scene is her sister at Scarlett at Black Widow's grave, and then I can't think of her name now. She's from Seinfeld. Julie Louis-Dreyfus, from her character she played in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
he makes an appearance and starts talking to Black Widow's sister, because my understanding is the Black Widow's sister will become the new Black Widow in this new setup that they're working on for television, kind of a thing.
And that would be a good little thing, because she needs to work on her Russian accent. A little cheesy.
Well, when you consider where she comes from, I mean, that was her first major acting role, so I wasn't too unimpressed with it. I mean, I thought she did good.
I don't know where she came from.
She was some kind of social media influencer.
Oh, okay.
That's where I think she got her start from. I could be completely wrong because I'm an old guy talking about modern things.
Yeah,
so,
don't even watch.
Those newfangled things,
The point, and actually,
we've got an interesting debate going on in the comments between Joe and Raymond about death in comic books. So
yeah, well, and again, comic books are that way. People die, they come back. It's like a soap opera. If you think about it, like in soap operas.
They're all. I read comic. My thing with comics that I always found, not so much death. Joe's absolutely correct. Death doesn't matter in comics, but what I used to find out is the crossovers, because if you followed all the comics, Wolverine physically has to be like 3 people. Because for a time period, he was crossing over in everything. And it's like there's no way you can have a continuity to this timeline because you can't be here and then on the other side of the globe. It was just crazy.
But it was neat. It was neat. It was a fun movie. A little bit of comedy, which was great. Which is always fun to break up some of the seriousness that some of the Marvel movies have had in the past.
I think Marvel does humor better than DC has up till Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
Well, and also the DC, the Suicide Squad, the recent Suicide Squad.
I pick Suicide Squad not as a superhero movie, but as a comedy.
Okay, as long as we put that into that's like here's you got this timeline of movies coming out, superheroes, and then this movie comes out, Suicide Squad, and it's like this doesn't fit. We'll put it up here and we'll start something else. It's like when they were talking about it in Loki about the timelines. It's like, well, that's a beep in the timeline. We'll just put that someplace else.
The thing that I find amazing about Suicide Squad is the sheer and utter shock and surprise when you're watching the movie. And it's been out long enough. If you guys haven't seen it, I don't really care about spoilers. The number of well-known actors that literally were only in the movie for that first 5-minute segment, and you're going, what really?
They either had to have been brought into the movie, like, because their payroll had to be ridiculous for the number of well-known actors that they brought in. But maybe there's a contractual thing where maybe they're going to bring them in and do like prequel type stuff, like go back and tell their stories in a DC universe.
Yeah. Well, also a lot of times actors will do something just because they want to be involved, like they
want to join the hype train of superhero stuff.
Yeah. Dr. Horrible in a sing-along blog is one of those that, like, Nathan Fillion was in it, Neil Patrick Harris was in it, more just because they thought it was fun and they didn't really do it. And I think that I'm hoping that's a lot of it, because it was like, if not, they wasted a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, and some of these actors do it the right way, because, like, if you look at Shatner, like, he embraces the Star Trek universe and the world and his character as Captain Kirk, and he goes.
He does now.
I'm sure at one point he didn't as much, but he realizes it's like, why fight it? Why resist?
In the 70s, Shatner and Nimoy were both kind of like, I want to move on. I don't want to be typecast as this guy. And then they kind of came around going, wait a minute, this is probably going to be what I'm remembered for. And they began to embrace it.
Yeah. Shatner's bizarre to start with.
Well, he is. Well, Nimoy actually wrote a book in the 70s titled I Am Not Spock.
Right.
And then he followed it up with a single, I Am Spock, because he finally kind of embraced it, that, initially they're like, but now people, they want to get, like, for example, in I think it's Undiscovered Country. I hate the fact my memory doesn't work. There's a cameo by Joe. Help me out here. I can't think of his name. I hate my memory. I hate everything about it.
In a movie that you remember?
Not off the top of my head. I can't think of his name now. It'll come to me. His sister played Supergirl. his anyway. There's a famous actor whose name is eluding me because my brain doesn't work like it used to.
Christian Slater.
Christian Slater. Thank you so much.
We got Lenny for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, you're both correct. Christian Slater. His mother, Helen Slater, was a casting director for Undiscovered Country. He wanted to be in a Star Trek film. So from what I've read, he signed on to do this little cameo. Literally, he knocks on Sulu's door because Sulu's captain of the Excelsior. He knocks on his door, gives him some information, and that's it. It's literally a less than a 10-second scene. And his pay for it was the uniform, the costume he wore.
Got to keep it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like Star Wars. There's so many people that do cameos in Star Wars just because they want to be in a Star Wars film. So
that's the hype train. And just like we think about the hype train and like wanting to go out and watch a movie, buy a thing, do a thing. But actors and famous people, they're no different than us. Like I've read stories about famous like people meeting Lemmy, and they were just in awe to meet Lemmy. And that Lemmy, like super casual dude, and he's like, "Hey, let's go grab a drink." But people just in awe being in his presence. They're even famous people have desires and want to be part of things. It's just they just get to do it on a different level than us.
I could never be an actor because I'd be doing that stuff for I'll do this for the costume, I'll do that for this prop because I want to be in so many movies that I wouldn't make any money at it. So
the other movie I got to see this week was Stories You Shouldn't Tell in the Dark.
Oh yeah, I've heard stuff about that. Is it good?
It's not a Texas Chainsaw Massacre horror type movie. It's more of a suspenseful Friday the 13th Jason, like not a lot of blood, guts, gore type stuff. But there's horror to it. It's more of suspense, but good stuff.
I can live without the gore and horror.
I'm not a big gore fan. It's kind of what happened with Ray Reynolds, but he actually made good money.
I remember one of my favorite sitcoms that was basically what I call Ryan Reynolds' bosom buddies was Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Oh, that was a great movie. Great show.
It was a TV series.
Yeah, great series.
Yeah, it was. That was the first thing I remember seeing him in. But yeah, you're right, Raymond. Absolutely correct.
Well, hey, look at George Clooney. He started on, was it Roseanne?
No, he actually started on. There was a show with him and Elliot Gould, where it was a half-hour sitcom about two doctors. That's the first thing I remember him in.
Yeah, but he started at like really.
Yeah, it wasn't until his ER role.
Oh, ER. No, I don't think George Clooney started in ER though.
That was kind of the role that launched him to where everybody started recognizing him, knew who he was.
That's what made him dreamy and all that.
And all of that hard work led to Batman and Robin.
See how the cycle goes. Everyone goes to superheroes at some point.
You want to look at some pictures?
Yeah, let's look at some pictures. I got to press buttons. I had some button pressing issues earlier. The show didn't want to go live for some reason.
I could see that.
It just sat in spin mode.
You were having some issues there. I found it humorous.
Intertwet.
So don't have a lot of pictures today, which I was actually thankful for.
Okay.
So that I didn't actually get them sorted out until first thing this morning.
The new guardsmen from the Kill Team box from Joe.
They're just really gorgeous models.
So much detail on them. I like them. I got to get mine painted one day.
Someday.
What I like, Joe pointed this one out. He actually put words in the book. I wonder what he wrote. I wonder if it's a poem about my mustache. Yeah. And the room goes silent.
I had a moment going, there's got to be something. Nope, there's nothing. I got nothing.
You had nothing. I stumped you on that one.
I had nothing. This guy's going, look at my gun.
Look at my gun. Good stuff. These are Steve-O's BattleTech things. He said something about like his models fell or they got damaged or something.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something I don't normally do.
What's that?
I like the paint jobs, but I don't get the bases. I know he's trying to he's trying to convey them in jumping.
Right.
They look more like they're falling.
We
I'm,
free
I'm,
falling.
I just don't. I mean, the paint jobs are great. They look
Yeah.
fun. I just don't get. I don't get the poses, and that doesn't mean they're bad. It just means I don't get it. So
And they're not really designed posed wise for those jumping poses. Like
yeah,
they're too open. They need to be a little bit more compacted in, I guess.
yeah. So again, I love the paint jobs, and in just my opinion, and I'm not saying it looks bad. I don't get it. Is really what I'm trying to say.
I guess it would depend. What does he do underneath them?
Yeah,
Like, does he put some cloud effects or something?
yeah.
Yeah. This looks like he's leaning. Oh,
And that's it.
Well, Mike, part of jumping is fun. No, it's not. Part of falling is not part of jumping. It's gravitational pull is part of jumping.
Yeah. And I don't know why he's saying it to you, because I'm the one that said they look like they're falling.
I just started singing free falling.
Yeah, no, I mean they're not bad. The paint jobs are decent. I'm looking at to me the model there should be some kind of little story there, and that I don't get it. I just don't get it. So
It's not yours.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure there's many models I've done that people scratch your head and go, "What the heck is he trying to say
here?" Raymond's more asleep than awake.
It is early out there. I've been up since 7 a.m., but I didn't have to do a live stream or interact with anybody till almost 9. So
yeah, I drank like a Monster and a Diet Coke, and I ate my breakfast, and all is good.
Let me get this straight. This morning before the show, you had a Monster and a Diet Coke, so you're probably wired.
Yeah, pretty much a little bit.
I just had to go. My only interaction this morning for the first 2 hours was with a lady at the post office.
Oh, I can't wait to get my cup.
Yeah, that was it. I
might even start drinking coffee on Saturday mornings in the cup.
They're not bad little cup. They're enamel. They look great. I love the logo, and they're a great little prop for Oktoberfest.
I love it. I love it.
So next year during Oktoberfest, when you're still trying to finish your Stampa, you'll have a lovely.
No, dude, I feel I am on the verge of finishing him. Like, I didn't touch him all week. I had to start other projects because I wanted to touch him, but I'm like, I am so close, I feel, to finishing him that I had to push him off to the side. I actually started working on, so I taught another how to build Gaslands cars at the shop by my house.
Oh yeah, okay.
They had a couple gentlemen that wanted to learn more about the game. It was more of a learn how to play the game and how to build cars. A Templar. This doesn't roll off the tongue there, Raymond. So anytime after I play Gaslands or I teach something about Gaslands, or even after I just talk about Gaslands, I get excited about Gaslands. And a while back, I picked up 1/32 scale cars.
Right.
And this is like a kind of a hauling truck.
Right.
My intentions were to make some post-apocalyptic, like a couple, like I have like 3 of these and a couple cars. So for demos, I want to build like a nice demo board. So if I'm at, and you could probably relate to this, if I go to a convention and I'm teaching people how to play Gaslands, I want to use bigger size things so like people walking by will see it from a distance and be able to go, what is that? I want to draw people in.
Right.
That's my intention behind upscaling. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of like a early onset post-apocalyptic feel. So we're not going to have the crazy, like I'm not going to have cranes and weird stuff. It's going to be like maybe a 50 cal bolted to the front. It's going to be very small.
More along the lines of what you see in like the Mad Max and Road Warrior kind of stuff, where they're, not quite as outrageous as they were in Fury Road.
Yeah. So I'm like pre-post-apocalyptic. I'm thinking I'm going to be in South Phoenix.
You're going to do it in the preparatory time before the official apocalypse.
Yeah, like the government collapsed, people Zombieland. I'm thinking Zombieland. Like Woody Harrelson got the Hummer, and there was a bucket of guns, and all he did was painted a number 3 on the side of it, and we were good to go.
I'm going to break our cursing rule because you're going to basically go from people trying to survive to people become batshit crazy.
Bingo. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
But I want to keep it kind of simple. I just want to have a small collection of cars. And again, the whole concept is this more for conventions or even at the shop. Like if I'm just doing like a demo day at the shop and I have a couple people that are interested, I want people walking by to see cool cars. And then I'll have like the crazy Gaslands cars that I built up. Saying
Right.
normally it's played with Hot Wheels and we do a little bit more post-apocalyptic or you can go sci-fi or stuff. But yeah, so I started working on cars because this I had to chop up. I've already started chopping this up because the truck bed came all the way to the top.
Right.
And I had to cut the bracket out because I want to make it a regular truck bed. And what's cool is I just use 1/35th scale military stuff.
Yeah.
These are 1/32nd scale. So 1/35th scale, not that far off.
Yeah, but you'll get those guys that'll be like crazy.
Yeah. You know what I say to those guys? Your table's outside.
I don't even want to go into some of my stories about when I worked for Battlefront and the historical guys that we would do something and they would berate us because it, historically was out of scale or something weird like that. So
I don't really care, dude. This is for my kind of people. These are for my people. People that want to have fun, people that want to roll dice, people that want to go pew, 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 and go and make noise effects and have fun with a game and not.
No, gaming is serious. It cannot be, frivolous, and it must be accurate. And no.
And unfortunately, at the shop, there was one of those guys. I was like, yeah, you don't really play with the rules as they're written. I go, yeah, I know that because as the rules that are written, I don't like. So I changed them as rules as I enjoy playing.
What? Wait a minute. You've altered the rules to fit you?
Shocking, isn't it? There are 2 rules in Gaslands that bug me.
Well, I realized yesterday, and you should have realized yesterday in the text, I can play that game well because I gave you many options to alter your mug when you receive it.
And I've taken those under advisement, and I'm thinking the compartmentalized mug is probably going to be the way. I want half of it to be coffee, half of it to be hot chocolate. I just got to figure out how I'm going to drink it where it doesn't spill on me.
2 straws.
No, that's no fun.
You want to drink at the same time or drink them separately?
I'm thinking I'm going to drink them at the same time. So that way I get coffee and hot chocolate at the same time. On one side of my mouth, it's going to be hot chocolate. The other side is going to be coffee. And then I swish it all around.
Well, you do a special straw that has basically, it's like a fork at the bottom. Go on. There you go.
Yes, this is why we lose audience members so quickly.
Again, that's not why we do this.
But yeah, there are 2 rules, and once you start playing Gaslands, you'll probably, especially you're going to play with Rob.
I have no idea yet, so okay. I'm just now got the Blood Bowl thing organized, and I'm sure Rob's got his rule book that will come up because he wants to also start playing some 40K as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but there's just 2 rules. One of them's the tailgating rule. It can be manipulated. Like I could literally whip a motorcycle in front of a semi truck, and it's going to stop that semi truck in its tracks. And it's a rule that can be manipulated. That I just don't agree with manipulating rules that can do unrealistic things.
I agree.
So I don't agree with that. And then the dice, one of the dice mechanics, the timing of when you spend your dice and stuff. It's like, look, if I take the risk to roll the dice, I should be able to spend them whenever and however I want because I took the risk.
Right.
It takes the risk versus reward out of the.
Well, that's the whole thing about gaming that so many people forget is that house rules are an actual thing.
Yep.
I mean, Darren has rewritten a lot of the stuff for Cyberpunk. One of the reasons that my local RPG that I ran for my daughter, son-in-law, and a couple of their friends were based on the fact that one of the players didn't like the fact that I played my version and I made changes and I did things that weren't exactly like the rules. They weren't cheating. I just said, nope, I don't agree with that. This should change. And he was also a what I call a kill it and check their pockets for change, move on to the next one.
Murder hobo.
Murder hobo. Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I think early D&D was so popular. I'm not talking red box, blue box. I'm talking white box. I think the reason it was so, and I heard someone else talking about it too. The reason it was so successful is because it allowed for so much house ruling to be made, so that you create the game that you want to play, and you're not restricted to the what D&D has become.
Right.
These volumes of books and rules, and you're spending more time in the rule book than you are the world and playing the game.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I'm at. Yes, it is called Moco, but I want a cup that's divided.
No, well, actually, here's the difference. Where a mocha is mixed for you, you want that mixture and that explosion of that flavor mixture to happen
In my mouth.
in your mouth.
Yes.
There you go.
I know that sounds.
Now we're getting to areas that could really go into some bizarre conversation. So we want to get away from that. So
Yes. We used first edition D&D when we played too many rules, slow games down. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And there's a lot to be said about that. And that's one of those things with the gas lines. Those two rules kind of slow some things down, and I'm just like, no, that's not how I want to play. Like,
I started playing D&D when the dwarf and the elf were not race; they were character classes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's when I started playing. So.
Yeah. And again, I think that's why early D&D is so, and that's why OSR, old school revival, D&D is becoming such a popular thing, because people are fed up with I've got to buy $100-$200 worth of books to play this game, when you can go buy an OSR game. Everything's in one book and you're good to go.
I think also just that whole retro thing is kind of in right now, because you have that going on with role playing. You've got people that are now, as Phil and his old arcade games and that kind of thing, where you can go out and buy old games. So that whole retro thing. And then of course they're bringing television series back from, 10, 15 years ago.
Chucky's coming back.
Who?
Chucky.
Oh, Chucky.
Chucky's got a series coming out.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. That's gonna be kind of cool.
No, it is. And also
Dexter's also coming back.
See, look at that.
I love Dexter. It was my guilty pleasure.
And for games, role-playing games, and even rule books and things like that, print on demand is so easy. Like, I could write a book and put it on Lulu and have it print on demand, and I could technically claim I'm an author and I'm published, as long as I buy one book and have it shipped and printed. But you technically could. It's so easy to do some of these things now, that a lot of these OSR games and stuff, you're buying them through print on demand services. You're not buying them at IOG or whatever game store you go to. That's where you're finding your commercial grade stuff, your Wizards of the Coast, your I don't know who, Modifius and all those companies. But everything else, it's like OSR stuff, which is anybody can write it with the open license. You're good to go. Babylon 5, is that coming back?
Yeah, he's working on I'm one of his Patreons, and he basically got the green light from Warner Brothers to do a pilot that's going to air on the CW.
Really?
It's not a continuation. It's a reboot. Which this is the other thing that drives me crazy. Now the Babylon 5, all the Babylon 5 Facebook pages and sites that I frequent have exploded into the why are they destroying my childhood? Why are they destroying this? It's like. And Straczynski's just like he's writing it. He was very clear about it. He's writing this reboot with knowledge and experience and story ideas he didn't have when he did the original.
Right.
And I think that's I trust him completely. I'm over the freaking moon on this.
But if it's something you love so much as a child and enjoyed so much, well, was Babylon 5, were we children or were we preteens? I don't know.
I was full-fledged adult with children.
Yeah.
I love Babylon 5.
But if it was so enjoyable for you, why not have the creator create a new version of Babylon 5 so your children can enjoy it?
Absolutely.
And it's not ruining your childhood unless there's some weird time warp thing, that something that happened today ruined your past. I don't understand that.
My fondest memory growing up is me getting off the bus or getting out of school and running home so I could be home in time to catch Speed Racer.
Oh yeah,
That was my life. Speed Racer for the longest time was my life.
Right.
So fast forward, we're in Arizona. I'm talking to Darren about how much I love Speed Racer, and we're walking through a Blockbuster, and I had told Darren hundreds of times what Speed Racer meant to me as a kid, and I came across all the VHS tapes in Blockbuster.
Right.
And I grabbed my favorite episodes, took them home, and put the first one in. And Darren had never seen an episode of Speed Racer in his life. And even I was going, the animation was from the 60s. The storyline and the voice acting was from the 60s.
Right.
And I was disappointed watching it then, but that did not change my memories as a child.
Right.
And then they come out with a new version of Speed Racer. They come out with a movie, and I take each one of them as a reiteration of that IP, and I like or dislike them based on their own merits, not based on my memories of the old one.
Right.
And so many people don't do that. I mean,
yeah, it can't ruin your childhood. It can't ruin anything. It's just like, my childhood is still my childhood. Like Lenny, I remember going home and watching Masters of the Universe. Like that used to be a cartoon that I would see.
Yeah.
I think I was in high school though, but it would still be on. But it doesn't ruin your childhood just because they've redone Masters of the Universe. It doesn't mean, or Speed Racer. Yeah, people are just stupid.
You have to take it. You have to take it with what it is now. That, like I said, looking at the animation as an adult, it doesn't translate well from the child me to the adult child that I've become.
However, the man child. You're the man child.
It does in no way, shape, or form change the fact that was my life. I mean, I would be like, oh, gotta get home, and I'd sit in front of the TV and watch Speed Racer. Yeah. And it just, people don't. And but the Babylon 5 pages have exploded with people. I mean, 2 of the sites that I frequent had to basically shut down because the negative comments about the reboot were overwhelming. It wasn't the fact they agreed or disagreed. The moderators couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just going, I think Straczynski is one of the greatest writers of our time. I try to follow as much of what he does as I can. Some of it I like more than others. I like everything he does. And people it's like, just come on. The negativity just kills me. So.
And that's just how the world functions. Yes, watching the monkeys, you will lose IQ points.
But I still love the monkeys. I will watch the monkeys. I still find them funny as heck. Yeah. So.
Well, and the whole idea of the monkeys and how they were created and how it turned into a phenomenon and all of that stuff was just a story unto itself.
Yeah.
Just a neat story itself. But yeah, so cool. Babylon 5's come. Maybe I'll watch it now.
Well, it's going to be on the CW, so it's not going to be behind. That's the other thing people are freaking out about, because it's not going to be behind a paywall.
That should be a good thing.
So that's a lot of people say it's going to be a good thing, and other people are now complaining that because it's not behind a paywall, they're going to be restricted by broadcast television on what they can and cannot do. And I'm just like, you guys just can't take anything at face value. Here's my favorite author from my favorite TV show is rebooting that. I'm just freaking excited.
And here's the thing: if you don't like it, just don't watch it. Nobody needs to hear your opinion about it. Just don't watch it. I don't like The Hobbit. I'm a Tolkien fan. But the movies, The Hobbit, I don't like them.
Yeah, they weren't done well. They weren't done well. I agree.
But all I do is I just don't watch them. To me about that is that they said for years they wanted it. Now that they got it, they're complaining about it.
Here's the thing, Joe. A majority of us that are B5 fans want it, and we're excited about it. But here's the problem. There are so many, there are very, very few people that are negative, but they're so vocal that they seem like the majority.
Yes, Lenny, we're too busy singing to put anybody down. We're too busy painting to put anybody down. Yeah, it's a really weird world that we live in, that people feel their opinion needs to be heard. And how many people are just jumping on the hate bandwagon? And this happens with GW a lot. I'm guilty of it too. I've done it.
Yeah, we all
I'm not going to say I'm a saint, although I've been sainted.
you're
You just kind of jump into that negative hype sometimes. It's easy. It is easy in life to be negative. It takes effort to be positive.
no, I agree. And
And we are lazy people that just want to be negative.
on the GW front, I have listened to the same complaints since 1988 and 87 and 88, where they have always been labeled too expensive. And this is the day when you actually could buy a Land Raider kit for $20, and you got 2 Land Raiders,
Right.
and $20 got you 3 Rhinos. But I mean, literally since the 80s, I've heard they're too expensive. You know, they're going to break me. They're making me buy this, and it's like and that if you look at all the threads now, it's the same thing.
Yeah, same conversation is still taking place today. It's like we're back in the 80s. It's going to continue to happen, but like everything, it's like I said, super easy to be negative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The other thing people need to learn on that front is it really too expensive, or can you not afford it? That's the two things, because there's a lot of things that I can't afford that aren't too expensive. I just can't afford
it. And the reality is, if they just went home and actually looked at what they actually had, they were probably okay.
Yeah.
You know, like, do you really need to buy all that new Black Templar stuff, or is it just something you want to buy so you can be part of all the excitement of the new Black Templar?
Well, it's like that Eagle Moss kit that we talked about on Wednesday night.
Yes.
It is a bit of money every month that I have to put out. So I didn't go, wow, it's too expensive, I'm not going to do it. I went, I'm going to adjust my finances so I can afford it.
And you didn't go online going, this is too expensive. This is a highway robbery. This is ridiculous. I hope you fail.
I simply went, I don't need that. I can merge this and I'll get rid of this. And look, I can get this lovely kit.
Look, you guys, here we're trying to help you solve the world problem solving. This is what we talk about before the show.
This is our pre-show before we go live. Mike and I sit around having this debate.
This is actually what our pre-show is all about, is us talking about the world as it is. So
you want to paint?
Should we paint?
We can paint.
I think we put everybody to sleep. So
I think so.
I'm going to switch cameras.
Well, now they won't notice us making mistakes.
Yeah, now they won't tell that we can't paint.
Well, I always switch to my stunt painter at times like this anyway.
Well, yeah, duh. The thing is, a lot harder for me to find a stunt painter because I had to find a guy missing a finger.
Well, didn't you just cut his off?
You're not supposed to tell people that. So here's my Stompa as here. Do galaxy far away comes a Stompa.
That just looks amazing.
I just like doing that effect of rising up on the screen.
It just looks amazing, dude.
I am extremely happy with how this boy is turning out. Or girl.
Please make sure you post that on League of Extraordinary Painters, by the way.
I will. It's my goal. This is my entry for the League of Extraordinary Painters. What I need to do now is I've got this cool little ladder that was left over from my squig off, which I'm not going to use on my squig off, and I want to glue it to the back of him so that people can like get into the Stompa. Sorry. My Arnold came out.
Have you had a chance to watch the new Hammer and Boulder, by the way?
No, it's super frustrating that I can't get that service on my TV. I don't like watching TV when I'm hobbying. Like, I don't mind background noise, but I'll just sit here and watch it. And this chair is not designed for watching TV.
I don't watch anything new while I'm painting because I don't really watch it.
I guess I could just watch old repeats.
I put something on, like for example, when I'm painting Space Wolves, one of the things I usually have on, or in the background, is like the 13th Warrior.
Right.
Stuff that I know what's going on without actually looking at the screen.
Great. You just gave my Commando Knob a voice. Well, I'm glad I could help you, Joe. That's what I'm here for, buddy. But yes, no, I have not seen any of the new stuff. be a browser on your smart TV, Mike. Yeah, I get. Oh yeah, web browser. Hey, I didn't even think about that. All right, let me look into it.
I've been
'Cause I think
debating on.
you don't have to have an app for that.
No.
I think you can just watch it through the browser.
Yep.
All right, I'll
Well,
figure it out.
there are an app on like my Roku and that kind of thing, but I've actually got the Roku app for that. But yeah, you can if you have a TV has a browser, you better watch it.
Yeah, I've never used my TV's browser.
I have to mute my mic because I got to use my paint shaker again. Hang on a second.
Shaky, shaky, shaky.
Shaky, shaky, shake.
Anywho, from here, what I want to do is I got this cool ladder, and I think it's just going to be nice right here on the back of the Stompa. It kind of fits the contour of the metal, and it's right there by a latch or a door so people can get into the Stompa. So that's what we're going to do there.
I'm back.
All right. Glad to have you back.
I normally prep my paints before, and I just haven't. I've been slacking.
Slacker.
That works for me, David. David's asking if he paints his Space Marines green, if that counts for Orktoberfest.
Of course. Green. It's what October is all about, the color green, because it's not easy being green.
Good old Kermit.
Yeah, sitting there drinking his cup of coffee, pining over Miss Piggy. Uh-oh, I don't think I got enough glue on. Nope, I didn't get enough glue on.
Oh no!
It only made contact in one spot. I was trying to be a little conservative with how much glue I put on it, but then I should have just realized it's an Ork vehicle. Doesn't matter how much glue you put on it.
I'm gonna take my pedometer off here. It's driving me nuts.
Pedometer? What?
Pedometer.
Oh, you're watching.
Tracks my heart rate because I have to keep track of my heart rate while I exercise and whatnot. And
of course,
I also have to track my steps and my calories and
your stuffs. Yeah, I'm really happy how my rust effect turned out on this, just using all the oil paints and stuff.
I'm telling you, dude, that model just blows me away.
All right, so David has to leave. He can't stick around. Have to get back to work. Have a nice weekend. Jeff, call me anytime tomorrow if you have time.
Hang on, I'm going to put a reminder on my phone right now, David, so I don't forget. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I didn't know there was a gun back here. There's a gun back here. I might need to drill it out. Yeah, it's pretty badass, Mike. I haven't seen your progress in a while. It looks really cool. Well, thank you, Lenny. Yeah, it's been a long journey painting this model.
What is it? Two Oktoberfest, or has it been 3?
Well, it's been I've from start to finish.
Well, I know you even started it before Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I think this is the third.
I think it's the 3rd Oktoberfest we've talked about this song.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. I don't know. It's been a journey.
Yeah, that Stompa looks really great, buddy.
Well, thank you.
I
just want to have it done so that I can, start another project.
that's kind of your opus.
Yes, it is. It'll just be nice to have done. They've become a little bit more viable in the game,
right?
9th edition, they weren't that, or 8th edition, they weren't that great. But 9th edition, they came a little bit more viable. But for me, it's not about like, oh, this is a great unit, blah blah blah. For me, it's just like it's a Stompa. It's painted. It looks cool. You got one? No. All right then. Those are the conversations I have in my head when I talk to people.
And those are good conversations to have. Bum bum bum.
Yeah, but I'm kind of excited to do this 30-second scale. Oh, I should get on screen. Gaslands kind of conversion.
Yeah.
Just to have something, like, I think it'll be cool to have something to kind of show off at a convention.
No, I think it'll be awesome, dude. I think it'll be great.
The thing I got to figure out is I've got to print the templates out larger.
Right.
So I'm going to have to figure out how to upscale the print job on my printer. So that way I got to double them in size, basically, because I'm literally just increasing the game size by 100%.
Right. I have to check my paint list that I used for the flesh on this beast boss.
Third, first was my second was the third is now. Yeah, that's it. Joe is like our tracker of information.
There we go. Belladonna green and toad green. There we go.
Todd green. Toad green. What?
Toad green.
You making fun of Todd?
Nope, not at all. No way, shape, or form.
I saw him last weekend. He wasn't attached to Carlos.
Yeah. Yes, no. I only actually see him when that's taking place. He and Carlos together. We had a nice get together. Before I left Phoenix, we went down and met at a Belladonna. Where's Toad? There's Toad. One of the things I do like about the Instacolors is they have the mixing ball already inside of them.
It's all about the ball.
All about ball.
Yeah, there's other paints that have been doing that lately too. I kind of like it. Save me the hassle.
There you go.
Now that the weather's getting better out in Arizona, all the craft shows and things are starting to launch up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I got to run to Days of Nights today.
You got to run to what? I'm
Days
sorry.
of Nights.
Is that the game store?
One of the game stores in the area. They've got a better paint selection. I need to pick up some GW paints.
Yeah. You need a G-dubs. You need your G-dubs.
Need some colors for some stuff I'm working on.
Colors.
Really good movie.
Oh yeah. Again, kind of dated.
Yeah.
But it's more of a historical movie now.
It's Robert Duvall. You can't go wrong with Robert Duvall.
Yeah. And wasn't it Sean Penn?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Robert Duvall and Sean Penn.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I have to say, I haven't used the Instacolor version of black yet, but the Black Templar contrast paint, I really like how that goes on.
Oh yeah. Like some of that contrast paint comes in really handy for some different projects.
Well, I normally on all my metallic colors, I will base them in a black,
right?
Just to get me that dark look. And I have found that the Black Templar contrast paint, because it actually darkens up your recesses even more than the top part, just accentuates that.
That darkness,
Yeah, it
like
just
your
really,
soul.
yeah, it just really helps with that. And then of course I'm using when I do my metallics, I brush on the Vallejo metallics, the airbrush metallics.
Yeah,
So they're thin as well. So that just kind of helps again exaggerate those highlights and shades.
and Lenny's agreeing with us. Look at that. Mm-mm-mm. So I need to try to clean up some blah that I made. I made a blah.
A blah,
It's like when I was doing all the washes and stuff,
right?
it like pooled in an area and I didn't see it.
Ew, icky.
But it can be thin. If you get some acrylic thinner, just make sure it's acrylic thinner and not lacquer thinner. Let's see if this does it.
I need to find a contrast yellow.
They make it. I've got it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, one of the things I do like about especially when painting orc flesh, I prefer the GW greens versus other greens
Right.
because the greens are brighter. If that makes any sense.
Yep. Hey, this is kind of working out good.
Well, I got to get some mute green, that's for sure, because this was done. Whew.
You making a list, checking it twice.
Yeah, something like that. Find out which paint's been naughty and nice.
I'm just using the thinner to take off the excess wash on everything, and now it's kind of just giving it a different look.
Isn't it amazing how that works? When you go back over it with what you're doing right now to kind of thin that out a bit.
Yeah.
It is such an easy thing to do, but you get some really great effects.
Well, and it's still dirty. That's the important part. It's not
Yeah,
it's not like super clean. It's just dirty.
All right, I'm gonna be where the heck? Okay, I'm gonna be muting my mic again.
I'm getting muted again.
No, and you're not getting muted. I'm getting muted because I don't want you
you're
to
muting your mic. I'm your mic.
Here's why. You ready?
Oh yeah, mute away.
I love my paint shaker. My Robart paint shaker works really, really well, but it is loud.
Yeah. Need to get you one of those Vortex ones, I guess.
Yeah.
But those are loud too, because Darren will use his and he has to mute.
Well, the vibration on the table is
Yeah.
I think one of the things that really kind of throws that in.
Throws it off its game.
Yeah.
Throws it off its rocker.
Where is my allow me a medium? There it is.
All right, now I want to glaze over that orange, but I'm going to use, where is my orange transparent? Yeah, I think this thing's going to be done. Like I got to do like a lot of silver dry brushing, obviously.
Right.
Actually, I could leave the silver kind of flat and dull. It's not too terrible.
I'm putting a glaze of a brighter green on the flesh tone.
Yeah.
It kind of just because it looks almost like a military color right now. This green does. I mean, the highlights and shades are good, but it's a little dark, and I wanna kind of brighten it up a bit.
Dark like your soul.
Your soul is mine.
Your soul is mine.
Now I gotta watch the old movie again.
What one?
Um, Mortal Kombat.
Oh, the new one, right?
No, the old one.
Oh, I like the new one.
I like the new one too, but I also like the old one.
But it ruined my childhood.
Nope, didn't do anything in my childhood. Nothing whatsoever. Of course, again, I didn't play Mortal Kombat as a child. I played it as an adult. When I worked at Hobby,
Oh, I remember going to the Chuck E. Cheese and dropping quarters.
when I worked at the Hobby Town at Bell and the Freeway, there was a native New Yorker in the parking lot, and they had a Mortal Kombat game. So I'd go over and have lunch, and sit and pump quarters into the Mortal Kombat machine.
Yeah. Best game still is Defender.
I love Defender.
And Joust is pretty good too.
Joust was really, really good.
Nothing beats flying around on ostriches with spears killing things.
Yes. I also like Missile Command.
Oh, yeah. I never was a Tempest fan. I couldn't really get into Tempest. Like, to me, it was just weird.
I could not get into Tempest myself.
Donkey Kong, we like playing Donkey Kong simply because the game itself had a flaw where you could stick a straw into the side and rack up all your credits.
Right.
And we used to be able to play for free.
There you go.
So, and in the neighborhood bar, they used to have a Donkey Kong arcade games by the front door, and that's as far as we were allowed to go into that restaurant. And one day, I think the bar owner figured it out because the machine got a plate put on it one day. And we no longer could play because we didn't have quarters.
You could no longer do your thing.
Yeah. Because all the mechanism was on those machines was the quarter just passed through and just hit a button as the quarter passed through. There was no size, there was no weight.
Yep.
Plugs would work, all kinds of things would work to get a machine.
It would just trip a lever.
Yeah. Blackout Centipede. Oh, Centipede was fun. Yeah. A little shooting up stuff. Yeah, and those are video games like, I don't know what. Well, for us, it was just a fascination of playing them. But we used to be able to go to Smitty's before it became Kroger's or whatever it is now.
Right.
And you could test play the Atari cartridges in the store. And that was always fun. We'd be there for a couple hours playing games until they kicked us out.
My grandfather, that's one of the things I remember about my going to Arizona as a child was he'd always get up and go to Smitty's for breakfast every morning.
Oh, at the little diner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that well. Where's my color? I'm looking for a color on my desk. Looking for a color in my life. You guys didn't know this is the Mike comedy hour where he sings for you.
What's new with Mike and Jeff, the musical?
Exactly, the musical. So what are you guys doing out there? Me and Jeff are rambling. What are you guys rambling about? What are you guys doing? We used to stack quarters on the Street Fighter machine. Oh yeah, hey, I'm next. You put your quarter up. Then there'd be a little bit of a fight because someone thought they would be cool and like try to get in front of you. Like, hey, I had my quarter there.
Yep, they would monopolize the machine.
Oh heck yeah, we would. Get out of here, you silly wannabe. Joe's just listening to us ramble. I'm glad we can entertain Joe.
the true connoisseur would understand that what we're saying is not rambling.
We're reminiscing. We're the old guys in retirement home.
We're the old guys in the balcony on the Muppet Show.
Yes, that's exactly who we are.
Yep.
Just hanging out with you guys. I haven't had a painting bug of late. You need to start painting again, Lenny. I noticed you've been posting some stuff on Facebook about old stuff, like you're doing the memory thing. You need to get some motivation going.
It comes in cycles.
I know.
One of the problems about having animals in your house is you could get the occasional cat hair that you didn't notice previously.
Yeah, my cat's pretty good. He doesn't hang out in my hobby room.
Mine doesn't either, but occasionally I think he'll, like, for example, when I go out in the living room, he sits in my lap.
Yeah, and then it's on your shirt.
I think I bring it in.
Yeah. Oh, would Joe just say, I just don't have anything primed this morning and I have to get ready for work. All right, Joe. Hey, don't forget to tell Kim that I'll be coming over around 10:30 this morning. If she hasn't remembered. I'm sure she remembers. And then, I haven't painted since I finished those vampires. It's been a few months. Yeah, it has. Those vampires were a while ago.
Also remind Joe to put your name on that paint set.
Oh, yeah, Joe, that's my paint set. Talked to Jeff, confirmed with Jeff. He did not get 2 of them.
That is not my paint set. I have mine.
So, yay, paint set, Mike. Actually, put my name on my box because that's really all I'm buying.
The box.
The box.
I think you'll like the Instacolors. I actually don't mind them.
I have them.
I have not used contrast or the Instacolors long enough to where I think I would be productive during Oktoberfest because I'd be going through the learning curve of figuring out how they work.
Well, now you know. Dry brushing. All we are is dry brushing.
Dry brushing is not a sin.
Oh, it is a valid technique.
I do not know why. I have always just preferred my Orks to have blue blood and blue, like, for example, the tongue in here is going to be blue.
Blue. Get some more of that off. Yeah, and just going to start hitting the randomness, get some of the stuff to pop up. Brighten it up a little bit. Just going to kind of randomly go through here. I got something sticky on my hands. It's don't know what it is. Kind of gross because I don't know what it is. We'll play that game. What's sticky on Mike's hands this morning? I don't know if that's going to be a fun game or not, but there's a new Friday the 13th or Halloween movie coming out with Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be in it.
That looks
That's
really
going to be at the theater, so I guess. I don't think it's going to streaming, which is perfect because it's a scare movie. I don't know how many times this guy can die.
Well, some would say he never really has died.
He's just been replaced.
No, he's just unkillable.
Well, no one's ever did he ever have his head cut off?
No, not to my knowledge.
So maybe he's a hybrid zombie type.
I haven't followed the Michael Myers. I love the actually the original Halloween was the first R-rated movie I ever saw.
And it is still the best.
And let me tell you how things have changed. Where I grew up, the Holland Cinema wasn't a multiplex. There was no multiplexes then. And if you were under the age of 17, you could get in to see an R-rated movie with a note from your parents.
Yeah,
So of course we all forged those notes.
of course.
And it was the first R-rated movie I had gone to see, and it scared the bejesus out of me.
Well, hey, I can take it one step further. My dad had a tab at the local liquor store
Right?
and would literally, this now we're talking tabs, like on kind of unheard of today.
Yeah.
And he would send me down with a note to go pick him up a pack of cigarettes.
There you go.
And it was okay. There was no, oh my God, he's under 18. It's like, no, he's picking it up for parents.
Yep.
And of course, the store owner would always check with my dad to make sure it was legit.
Yep.
But yeah, I used to be able to, back when we could be free and like trusted, I guess.
Well, the problem is for every person that does that within the scope of common sense, there are 100 people that do it in the scope of I'm going to take advantage of the rules.
Oh yeah, there's always someone.
Yep.
Lenny has pointed out that Michael Myers is Highlander. Very true.
Yeah, very, very true. He's the one Highlander that the really bad one that no one talks about.
Well, we talk about him, just not in a positive light.
He's also because as you know in the storyline, Jamie Lee Curtis is his brother. He is. There can be only one. There's only one child.
One child,
and that child is me.
Oh, this guy's just all this highlights making him so much nicer.
Dude, it's looking great.
Oh, I think I figured out what was sticky on my hand. It was super glue, and it must have run underneath the ladder that I put on, hence causing sticky. Causing sticky.
Now, talk about reboots. There's a series I'd like to see rebooted.
What?
Highlander.
Oh, you sure it wouldn't ruin your childhood?
Pretty sure it would.
It would be neat. There's like at first I didn't really care too much for the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. At first, like the first like because there was something about Battlestar Galactica that's a lot like the original Star Wars. There was a little bit of the time period it was created in was in the movie. It was a bit there was just I don't know. I just didn't know if they could recreate it. But after you started watching it, and after the first, you were like, oh, "Okay, this is good. I'm liking it."
Actually, to be completely honest, the property that taught me or showed me that this whole negative thing about reboots and not being willing to accept things was Battlestar Galactica, because I saw a picture of the Galactica and it was one of those preview pictures that they kind of snuck out, so it wasn't a great picture.
Right, like a sneak shot.
I hated the look of the Galactica. I was adamant that I was never going to watch the show. They made Starbuck a girl. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I was one of the guys we were talking about this morning that you're going to ruin my childhood.
See?
And that's where I learned that this is just silly. It's just stupid. Yep. Because I loved it. It was fantastic. It was not the same story overall. It had this kind of the same overall, the theme, humans trying to survive, blah, 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 being chased by a menace.
It's not like they went back in and tried to recreate the original with a modern twist or anything like that. It was like they just did a different story arc and used some of the same characters.
And that's the one that made me kind of realize that, reboots are not necessarily a bad thing. Yes. And if they are, it doesn't change anything about my love of the first one.
Yes. Again, Doesn't take me back to my childhood, but I still liked it. And Rob goes, woot, woot. So Rob has joined us with a woot, woot.
Hey, Rob.
So
No,
yes, Lenny felt the same way. Female Starbuck, what are you thinking? But she did good.
I thought she was great.
Yeah.
And
she kept some of the cockiness of the original Starbuck
that made Starbuck.
Yeah, so kind of good stuff.
Lauren Green is always going to be my Captain Adama, even though I like Edward James Olmos' version.
Yeah.
But Richard Hatch is always going to be Apollo to me. But I got over myself essentially. And number two is it's not my creation; it's someone else's creation. They produce it to entertain me, and if I like it, great. If I don't, then I just don't watch it. Yeah. But jumping on a social media platform and ranting and raving about how they've destroyed some aspect of my life is just
stupid. Well, like Joe just commented, it wasn't his thing, but he didn't begrudge anybody that enjoyed it. So that's kind of how it is. All right. Well, I think I'm at a point where I'm going to kind of let stuff dry and kind of firm up. I got to figure out, like, I want to put some rust effects up here on the smokestacks because I think that should be rusty in some way, shape, or form. And Rob had a hard time getting into the show. Yeah, I got into once I got into it, I was into it. I dug it. So I think that's the next big step here is to try to figure out some rust effects, like which kind of rust effects do I want to do for that. Because I don't want to do the same. Like here down at the bottom, I did a very specific, oil, spongy rust effect with layering colors. Here I might do more of I might do more of a powder with a lot of medium in it to get it to be a little bit more surface rusty.
Right. No.
Your input helped end our civil war. We're going to start Call of Cthulhu again. And Jeff, you need to play with us sometime. And yes, I've got a new. So I kind of, black soot on the. Oh yeah, black soot definitely along the top. But I want to get some rust, Rob, down just around the straps and a little bit of surfacey rust. But yes, I definitely need to get some black soot.
You should attempt some bluing on those as well.
Ooh, some bluing. More like heat.
Yeah, heat blooming.
Yeah, I might do that.
Well, all I really got done today was I really added to the flesh tone and got a little more detail down on the face.
Sweet.
So it's starting to get like the bright orc flesh I want. I got the black on the arm, and I'll probably work on this for another hour or two this morning before I set it aside and go back to my commission work, which is custodies.
Yeah, I'm not doing any commission work today. So I'm adulting today.
But there you go. There's that orc face.
Another great Orktober festival, like Orktober show. But Lenny's kind of touched base on something. So yes, Jeff and I do need to join your Call of Cthulhu game. We could be maybe the gangsters or something. I really had a good time in Montana when I guest starred as one of my original cyberpunk characters that I used to play in Darren in our original game. That was a lot of fun. And I need to just role play more. Hang on a minute, I got to change cameras here. Sure. Well, and as I'm diving deeper into more, my interest in role playing is growing in a different direction because I do a lot of solo RPGs.
Sure.
And I listened to some solo podcasts, and I listened to a podcast recently from a guy that was talking a little bit about different type, like finite gaming and infinite gaming. And like the original D&D is more of an infinite game because there is no end, there's no campaign, you're just playing the game to play the game, and that's kind of what an infinite game is. Yep. And it got me thinking, it's like, since I do so much solo RPGing, instead of creating a character for a specific game, I created a personality that I'm just going to use in all of my different solo RPG games. Gave him a name, And just like when if I jumped into Lenny's game, I would just use this personality. He's got, positive characteristics, negative characteristics. He's got a little background and stuff. And I'm just kind of using a personality versus creating different, trying to be this, oh God, I got to create a new character and give it a name and give it a backstory and do all this other stuff. It's like, no, I got a dude. His name's Morgan. That's my character. And it's just, I went online and just did an online personality generator. And I just gave it a time frame, a modern time frame, but it created all this backstory and all this other information about, how his dad died. And it's just like, boom. And now I just have a personality that I can just use. So it just makes my life easier.
But that's the thing. That's the thing about role playing is actually that aspect of it is extremely personal.
Yeah.
I like to play characters that have some obsession, if that makes any sense.
No, mine has an obsession.
Yeah, so that's my big thing. So, like in the Aliens game I played with for a short time with Adam, my character's obsession was coffee. That was his thing, and went from there. So,
well, because I made my character a modern character.
Mm-hmm.
Basically 1985 is the time period I stuck him in, because I didn't want him to have any link to modern technology. So I put him in a time period that was a little less.
Sure.
His obsession is his history. He's a history guy.
Yes. So, well, my original Cthulhu character was obsessed with gathering information. It was, I had to have the information, almost like Magnus the Red. I had to know everything. Yeah. Which I knew going into it how Cthulhu worked, so I knew that eventually he'd be crazy. And
it's not hard to do in Cthulhu.
He'd lose his mind. And eventually, there was a point in the game that the GM said, "Okay, Jeff, that's your sanity's gone. Hand me your character sheet. He's not an NPC." And the best part about it was when I changed characters, I went to more of an enforcer type character. But whenever we would go to the asylum to get information from my previous player character that was now crazy and the informant, I got to role play him, which was all fun.
And I bet you probably drove people nuts playing that character as you went down the insanity track, because they're probably like, hey, we got this something. And you're like, I got to know more about it. And you're like trying to just, and then everyone's probably like, Jeff, stop. No, we just got to go.
I would go into I used it. One of my inspirations for the character Crazy was Murdoch from the A-Team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I would ramble, and then prior to the GM would give me little tidbits of information that he wanted me to pass on, and I literally write out a script before the game, so I wouldn't follow the script verbatim, but it gave me a way to keep my rambling straight in my own head. So I could go rambling. And I remember one game I got obsessed with a guy's shoes, because I saw them and they reminded me of a leather that I had once saw on a Cthulian creature, and
Yes, and Lenny and his group do get very, like, I felt out of place because I was, even though we're streaming it, like they were in full get-ups, and I'm like, I'm just in a t-shirt, and I'm like, oh, now I have my little flat cap, and I've got like.
So that's what makes role playing fun.
Yes.
Well, we always talk about getting out of your comfort zone. In role playing, you get out of your own skin for a while.
Yes, and if you ever see the photo of Lenny with his long hair, which is a interesting look for Lenny, because we're so used to seeing Lenny with no hair.
Right.
When you see him with long hair, you're like, okay, I can imagine he was in a metal band back in the 80s, putting out some music. Yes, he's in love with his wig. I think he's longing to have long hair.
Don't we all?
I'm working on it. I'm still waiting for my new chief to walk up and say, "Yeah, you got to cut your hair." I'm trying to come up with all the scenarios of how I'm going to get around that.
What I'm waiting for is the conversation you and I have after that happens.
How upset I'm going to be that I have to cut all my hair. Yes.
Yeah. So that's
makes me want to play in a Led Zeppelin cover band. Yes, I can see that. So Anyways, good stuff. It was fun hanging out with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
We help hopefully solve some of your guys's dilemmas in life. You know, this was free therapy for people to see.
Now, just as a reminder, next week my grandson's soccer game is in the morning, but
Okay.
I will beeline it back here and join late like I did last time. But I shouldn't be as late this next time.
So you guys are stuck with me in the morning, first thing.
Yeah. Well, the last time I did, I rode with my daughter. Depending on the weather, I'll probably take my motorcycle so I can actually leave immediately and get back a little quicker.
Okay. Well, I'm sure I can mildly entertain the audience.
You can hold your own.
Oh, I don't know if
you're better at it than I am.
I'm on the line. I'm on the fence though. Like I could teeter one way or the other. It just depends on how much. And like if it was a day like today, I probably would have rambled on for eons by myself, and wouldn't have been an issue. Did somebody walk in? You kind of.
No, there's activity outside my door, but they're not trying to get my attention. So
I'm still waiting for a serial killer to come walk like a Jason.
Oh, and bring me the sweet release of death.
I don't know if it's sweet, but the bitter taste, the iron taste of blood.
There are definitely days in my life that it's like that would be so I can finally relax. So,
well, if you're looking for just a suspenseful kind of horror, get you in the mood for Halloween movie, go check out the Stories You Shouldn't Tell at night. Just mild entertainment. Nothing, no blood and guts type stuff.
The movie I'm waiting for right now is Dune. Dune's out on the 22nd of October, and I'm just.
Are you going to the theater to watch it? Or are you gonna?
I despise theaters. I just cannot stand going to theaters. I got tired of that in Arizona, just because people don't have any. There's no more consideration for other people's viewing enjoyment. So
COVID has desensitized people to the world around them, and they all think they're at home doing whatever they want.
Well, my hatred of theaters happened long before COVID. It's just insane. So
there's I forget the title of it. There's like a historical movie coming out, knights in shining armor, sword fights, and all that kind of stuff coming out, and it's at the theaters. It's one Andy and I are kind of interested in.
Is that the one with Matt Damon and he played Kylo Ren? I can't think of his name.
I think it is. I think it's the same.
That looks really good.
It looks good. I like those historical kind of fictional, I just like those kind of movies, especially when it's just a movie. Sometimes in a series, like when you watch The Tudors or The White Witch, and some of those, like the series can kind of drag on because some of them can get very much like Black Widow into the background so much that you're kind of like, I'm tired. Just get to a fight scene or a sex scene. That's all I want to say.
So when it comes to movies, you're a murder hobo.
Pretty much. No, but sometimes it's like, Game of Thrones, there was a whole season where the God of Many Faces season is what we refer to it as. It was just like, all right, this is getting a little boring.
Yeah, see that's actually something I like about usually like about movies is getting that background about the character. But then there was a movie that I did exactly that to the nth degree, and that was Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp. I'm serious. The only thing they didn't talk about in his life was when he developed pubes.
Yeah.
Other than that, they covered every aspect of it. And that's the only movie in my history of movies that I walked out of the theater. I was like, nah, this is stupid. I'm out.
There was one I actually laid down to watch because it was God in General. So it was like a 7-hour movie. I swear to God. That was like it was like we went to the movie theater expecting like your typical, hour and a half, 2-hour movie. I think it was like 4 hours long. There was like intermission where we got to take a break.
I really enjoyed that movie, but it's a movie that I probably will never watch again because I learned what I need to learn. It's not something that was entertaining to the point that I want to see it again.
Yeah.
But it still I found a lot of it informative and entertaining. But so anyway.
Now, maybe in today's modern movie theaters, it might be a little bit because then I got the recliner, I can lean back, and someone will actually bring me food. But back when it came out, you were still in the old style chairs. And yeah, I was flipping all the arms up on a row of chairs just so I could lay down to watch the movie because it was just like, oh, this is taking forever. Because those old chairs, my back was like, oh, this is starting to get uncomfortable.
Yeah, holy cow. So.
Yeah. So, anyways, the stories we tell. So, if you're looking for something just kind of mildly entertaining, it's a good little flick. So,
Yep.
Wednesday night, are we on?
We're on Wednesday night.
Okay. Darren's still not in town.
I'll talk to him probably today or tomorrow to find out when he's coming back.
Okay.
Because if he leaves on Sunday, he'll be back in Phoenix on Tuesday, so he'll be able to join us Wednesday. I'll find out for him today what's going on.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll figure that out. So,
all right, buddy.
From there. All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening to two old guys ramble in the balconies. That was fun. And we will see you guys on Wednesday night at the Wolf's Den.
Yay, Wolf's Den.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
See you guys.